So when the dev blog came out and I saw this helicopter as the French Tier 5 Premium, I wasn't expecting it to be good. I did buy it, granted, I thought it was a nice looking helicopter and there was a nice pre-order camouflage, so I thought I might as well pick it up, especially considering how the price is basically half of that of any other premium heli, this only costing €34.99. First dev server comes around, my opinion is unchanged. The Atgms, their first generation, they are key controlled. Very difficult to use, especially when you are mobile in the helicopter and not hovering. It does have guns, it does have a nice range of weaponry, but nonetheless, it is fairly mediocre. It is as I expected. I go on to the second dev server, and what do I find? First off, the Atgms, they are now mouse controlled. This makes it very easy to shoot things while on the move, very easy actually now to also shoot and accurately hit aircraft and other helicopters. Of course, key controlled Atgms in Heli EC with this heli. The guns, they're only 7.62mm, they are not incredibly powerful. I would not be using this as a gun brawler with other helicopters. Brawling with this, with guns, against like an AH-1G, you don't stand a chance. But now the Atgms, they're mouse controlled, which means you can very accurately knock out enemy helicopters, possibly even aircraft in Tank RB. So this does massively improve it. Generally this helicopter, I did note on the initial dev server, the weapon payload being mouse controlled with the Atgms helps. But I did initially note on the first dev server, it is a fairly mobile helicopter. That is the same. Very good control. This is currently footage for realistic game mode. As you can see, the mobility of the helicopter is very nice. The control, it is generally quite a stable helicopter. You can backflip this thing and it will very easily right itself up to being level, and then you can easily move on from there, which is incredibly useful if, for example, in even air modes or heli modes, enemy helicopters are coming for you. That really helps, being able to do a backflip, drop down very quickly. That can be actually an incredibly useful maneuver against something like a Hind, which may not be able to so easily do that. Now, the size of this heli definitely helps. It is a fairly small helicopter. This means that, for example, against SPAAs, yes, they have radar, but being a small heli means you can hide very easily. Hide behind small hills, maybe even behind trees, just out of view, might make it difficult for them to kill you. And as you can see, unguided rockets. The payload, I am just happy with. Most helis, you will either have Atgms and some rockets, some gun pods and some Atgms, just various payloads. This, though, it is a good all-round payload capability. You have 6 Atgms, which are now mouse-controlled, which is perfect. You do also have the unguided rockets and 2 7.62mm machine guns. The machine guns, they are not obviously anti-aircraft or anti-heli type guns. What I would advise doing in heli enjoying confrontation, you see some artillery, if you see some small light vehicles, attack them with the guns. Don't waste the rockets or the Atgms. And as you can see just there, I did a small backflip type maneuver and it actually went quite well. I didn't lose control, I didn't overdrive the engine. That's an issue with some helis I've played, like the Bo 105. You do that kind of maneuver and there is a high chance the engine will sort of over-rev and you will kill your engine. This doesn't seem to do that, so definitely very good there. Now what I'm doing now is I'm going for the MiG-15. Now granted, when I do kill this guy, and I do in just a minute, he is coming directly towards me. But that does actually replicate fairly well what a helicopter would be doing in Heli EC. Most of the time when I kill them, when I'm flying, for example, the Bo 105, it's a Hind or something coming directly at me, and it's just a case of keeping the missile on the enemy heli as he's moving. Of course, a mobile target at that kind of speed is difficult, but as you see, if you keep it on, that is good. With moving targets that are airborne targets, generally, a piece of advice here, as you saw a minute ago, do not keep the aiming marker on the enemy target. Watch the Atgms flame and keep the Atgm on the enemy target, moving the marker to adjust, because the target's moving, so if you put the marker on, the Atgm's going to go either behind or in front of the target. It is not going to hit it unless it's going incredibly slowly. So generally just look at where the Atgm is. Even if the Atgm goes far enough that you can't see the flame, generally I've found you can actually still see the heat blur from the Atgm if you look really closely. Obviously with lower resolution screens or lower graphics settings that might be an issue. But generally I've not had a problem with that, and I feel in Heli EC, this thing, the Atgms, they will do well against, obviously their first gen Atgms, not a huge amount of pen, but if you hit a heli with one, it is going to do a lot of damage. So as for Tank RB, you will be able to protect yourself against aircraft for the most part, as long as you keep practicing and you get good at using the Atgms against sort of fast moving targets. Again, Heli EC is the game mode that I mostly use helis in. I doubt I will be using this in tank modes at all. I will likely wait until I get the Gazelles or something with far more powerful ATGMs. These being first generation ATGMs, they're not the best. This actually is the same ATGM that is mounted on the BMP-1 when that is in its stock configuration. Anyway though, this is actually one of the vehicles that I'm currently more excited to see when the update's released. I'm very excited to actually try this thing out in heli games, just because it's small, it's relatively mobile, relatively agile, good weaponry, good range of weaponry that can be used for many different things, and will likely get a decent amount of RP, at least in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. If you are unsure whether you want to get this or not, don't feel pressured to get it. Certainly wait until the update is released to get some actual gameplay footage from the live server to see how this thing actually performs on the live server after the update release. Anyway though, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please smash the like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you do. That would be massively appreciated. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.